Everybody, and welcome to Attack Gaming's Top 10 upcoming games for 2015. Hopefully there's going to be a lot of energy in this video. Hopefully there's a lot of energy from you guys really being ecstatic and enthusiastic about these games coming out, because I know I'm enthralled with at least a couple of these titles. I really want to get my hands on them. I really want to play them. And some of these games are released in the East. Some of these games you're probably playing right now because you bought into the beta access or the alpha access. And some of them, nobody has any idea what they're going to turn out like, and we can just kind of hope. But either way, we're still hoping, and 2015 is the year to make it happen, guys. Here is our top 10 most anticipated MMOs for the next year. Alright guys, so the first game I want to talk about is Albion Online, and this is a game that I personally played a lot of. I even joined a guild within it because it was so cool, and what's awesome about this game is that it's actually going to be on tablets, it's going to be on mobile devices. This is kind of like if you ever played RuneScape, it's going to be an anti-Care Bear game, which means it's pretty hardcore, and that when you die, you actually lose your items. You might have to go back to where your body was and pick up the items. It's all about crafting too, very similar to RuneScape or older MMOs. It is top-down, and the graphics are really cartoon and colorful, and I can say that it does look better than RuneScape, and it still has as much charm as the original RuneScape did back in the day. Albion, though, is significantly more hardcore. There's no questing. It's all PvP based. Yeah, there are PvE elements to the game. There are dungeons, and you're going to be killing and everything, but there are no questing. You're not going to have the really awesome and colorful questing that we had in RuneScape, but this game does have player housing. You are going to be building houses actually that exist on the map, and you can rent and have castles. You can make tents. You can make entire villages. You can make entire cities, entire kingdoms, guys. You literally can take over the world, and that's exactly what we plan on doing as soon as Albion Online launches. Okay, next on the list we have Bless Online, which for the most part looks good because it looks good. It looks amazing. It has a really down-to-earth high fantasy styling that a lot of people are really excited for. It's an aesthetic that's a little bit rare now. Normally it's very cartoony, or it's a little bit too gritty, and so this is somewhere in between, and a lot of people want that. Also, what's really cool about Bless Online is that it's not changing too much of the formula. For the most part, it's pretty much the same of what we want, what we like, and hopefully get rid of some of the things that we don't like. One such example is that the combat is going to be a hybrid tab targeting system like we see in games like Guild Wars 2. So the combat is going to be mobile, it's going to be a little bit action-packed, but for the most part, it's going to be mostly based around tactics and still have that visceral feel that we really want. Also, players are going to be able to pick and choose what abilities they want for their classes. So yeah, we still do have a standard class system, but kind of similar to Arcade, we're going to be able to pick and choose and slot different abilities while not having a million bajillion on our hotbar. So I really like that combat. It's going to make everything a little bit more tactical. It's going to make party formations a little bit more meaningful, and it's going to give players a lot more customization. For an MMO that seems to be a little bit standard, it seems to be breaking the mold in all the right places. Now, to be honest, there isn't a terrible amount of news on this game, and first-hand impressions are pretty rare, actually, because this game is actually being created as two games. It's going to be EverQuest Landmark and EverQuest Next, and a lot of people have had a lot of experience with Landmark, even though that's an unfinished product as well. EverQuest Next, on the other hand, is going to be this huge, full-fledged MMO. But what's cool is that this title is actually split into two. We have a Minecraftian version of EverQuest, which is the Landmark version, and this allows players to create houses, create kingdoms, create entire worlds for others to explore. Think, Minecraft, exactly like Minecraft. Now, EverQuest Next is going to be the MMO portion. There's going to be quests, there's going to be, preset environments by the developers, stuff like that, and potentially there's going to be content from Landmark that will be pushed into the main game. So, there's a little bit of a chance for fame for normal players. And really, what's great about this is because we see what happened with Minecraft, right? It grew and grew, and it's constantly growing, and that's what you want from an MMO, that you create a community. And EverQuest Next has that, and the community is already hyped. Next up on the list, and there's no way that we could do a top 10 upcoming list without mentioning this game. That's Blade & Soul. Blade & Soul has got to be one of the biggest, most hyped games out there. Lots of people have been wanting this game to come to the West for the longest time. Like, seriously, this has been in development for so long. Not only that, but it never even released in the West. The East got it, envy to you brothers, but Blade & Soul looks amazing. A lot of free-to-play games have actually been copying a lot of the formula of Blade & Soul, so it's really cool to see that we're finally getting it. We're finally getting the masterpiece. And yeah, if you don't know anything about Blade & Soul, basically it's going to have a hybrid tab targeting system, so it's going to be action-based. Think something like Guild Wars 2, Terra, Neverwinter. It's going to be something like that. It's definitely going to be bigger, more fantastic, lots of cool abilities, and also more precision-based. It's not just about spamming lots of different abilities. It's really about timing, and really the whole martial arts aspect of the game kind of shines through. At least that's what we hope when we actually finally get our hands on this game. Also expect cinematics, more immersion-based storytelling, and hopefully it's going to have a really awesome endgame, but again, that's all just speculation. Blade & Soul, please end our thirst. Come and release now. Next up on the list is H1Z1, and we're a little bit hesitant saying this game because it's really so early and a lot of the features haven't even been announced yet. And of course, there's also other games that have already previously failed and are attempting to succeed in the genre, which we could see with DayZ, which we saw with Infection Survival Stories. I mean, we know how that story went. So H1Z1, what are we gonna have in it? Well, honestly, like I said, a lot of the features aren't really listed, but of course, we're supposed to have really good undead. This is a big problem in the genre. Undead tend to be dumb. And, well, we need a little bit of sentience in our undead because they're just bad and a lot of times. We're supposed to have dynamic environments, lots of weapons, and lots of vehicles. This is a big bonus. Expensive crafting, apparently, is a feature, which is great because crafting you can't just willy-nilly just throw up stuff. I mean, we see that a lot in Minecraft mods. It's not as immersive and it kind of breaks the game a little bit, so expensive crafting kind of makes sense as a feature list. There will be base building. I'm stoked for that personally. Hope you guys are too, because that's definitely going to make the difference with H1Z1, and hopefully this game has a level of polish that we don't see in its competitors. Absolutely, keep your eyes out for H1Z1. It's hitting early access January 15th. And now we have Skyforge, is going to be brought to you by the same team that gave us Shards Online, so you could definitely expect a lot from this game. A lot of polish, a lot of content, and a good fair bit of originality. One of my favorite aesthetic pieces of this game that I saw in the trailer is that the Berserker class has a freaking chainsaw sword. So that's right, a lot of this design is going to be mixed sort of like technology. Like, it's going to be magic and it's going to be technology, maybe a little bit steampunk for throwing in there. It's just going to be a whole lot of different sort of scenes kind of put together. It's like high fantasy, but at the same time, it's still very Eastern oriented in design. Mythological monsters and pieces and art is really drawn into this game. You know, mythology being a huge component of the game and inspiration anyways. So Skyforge, you play as a character it's a deity, and you are trying to become a god. You're trying to become a god of this world, and so you're just building up your powers, and that's what an MMO is anyways. You're just leveling up, trying to get the biggest, craziest attacks, and that's what it's all about. And speaking of attacks, this game is actually going to have a combo system. For instance, you used left mouse button, then right mouse button, and then you left mouse button, right bumper. There's going to be a combo system, and then you are also going to have abilities that you're going to be using, but it's probably going to have combat similar to maybe either Guild Wars 2, but probably more closely related to Terra, and hopefully it's going to be much more impactful, but from the trailers and everything, it looks like it, and I cannot wait to do the PvP in this game. Yeah, I'm interested in the world, in its lore, and especially because it just looks so out there with all its monster design, but I am interested in the PvP, and I'm glad that they're promoting it, and hopefully the community is going to rally behind that as well. So not too long ago, this locomotive, this hype train, just got started for a game called Lost Ark. Lost Ark is going to be an action RPG, but set in an MMO universe, a persistent, big, actual traversable world. It's not just about dungeon diving. Of course, that's going to be the main platter, but there's going to be all sorts of other things, other dishes, other things to savor and taste in this game like a true MMO. There's going to be fishing and like little side quests and different things to do in the overworld. You can actually sail around and see other people. You can actually experience that. And of course, there is going to be a huge amount of replayability, and there is going to be dungeon diving. And honestly, if you look at these trailers and look at this gameplay, the dungeons look more polished, better, more immersive, and just bigger, more fantastic than any other action RPG and most other games, period. So this is really exciting to see that it's going to have all the MMO features. It's going to be a true action RPG, and at the same time, it's just the whole package, guys. Get hyped. Lost Ark is coming soon. Next up on our top 10 is Black Desert. Now this game a lot of people are super excited for because it breaks a lot of ground where MMOs have kind of been stuttering on. We are going to have player housing, we are going to have parkour elements. There is even a new aggro system instead of having the dumb aggro system that we have now in MMOs. This game we're going to have formations, and I think that's a really good idea. It kind of makes sense. So if you're in a straight line, if your party's in a straight line, you're going to be rewarded with DPS, and if you're in a circle formation, you're going to be rewarded with defense. So now players are going to be not just reactive, but also active in their movement, changing around the boss, and already the gameplay and the combat looks extremely mobile, really action-packed. It just looks so good, and yeah, let's look at these graphics, guys. It looks so amazing, and speaking of the graphics and how the game looks, check out the customization. Seriously, go check out the customization trailers. It's probably going to be the best customization in any MMO, maybe for a while. You can change the length of different hairs, in different parts of the hair. You can actually stretch and move around the face. You can do whatever you want to your characters, and these characters look great. The world looks great. The combat looks great. Everything about this game just looks really well polished, and I love all the different features of the game. It seems like it's going to be a great game. I mean, it's actually got a lot of sandbox element to it, such as, you know, no level cap or anything like that. Guys, seriously, check out this game, learn about it, love it, and hopefully I'll see you on it. And next we have a game called Shards Online, which I'm particularly excited for because I really am excited for Albion Online, and these games are actually very similar in a lot of ways, in control scheme, in design approach, how it's anti-Care Bear, how it's going to be a hardcore crafting MMO with economy on as the focus. Yeah, those games are very similar, but what makes Shards Online different from Albion Online? Well, it's going to be a buy-to-play, so you got to buy it once, and then you can play for free. There's also a sub fee for if you want to host your own shard. Well, it's called Shards Online. So what are the shards? Well, shards are actually like these servers. They're kind of like servers. They're connected in clusters, but shards works like this. One shard is like one world. Maybe it's a high fantasy setting. You have your monsters, your dungeons, you have your people making their buildings there, whatever. It's a world to explore, but then there are different shards that you can go and explore, and they have totally different themalities. Maybe one, like I said, is high fantasy, and then the next one might be steampunk, Victorian area looking. There's a lot of different things that they could do with this game to make it really fun, and also that's going to give a lot of prospects to different spells that you can equip, which this game is supposed to have a lot of tactics to the equipping of spells, how you create your character and customize them. You are going to have a limit on spells, but you learn them by going around exploring and crafting and just kind of diving into the world and picking up spells that way by genuinely learning them as you travel instead of just, popping a level, boom, you got a new skill. This game seems to promise a whole lot of awesome content for people who like hardcore gameplay, so yeah, if you're excited for Albion Online, there's no way that you're not going to be excited for Shards Online. And of course on the list we're going to have Star Citizen. This is one of the biggest games ever, most expensive, and it's been in development for a while, but this is a passion game from not just the developers but from the community as well. It's crowdfunded, so everyone wants this game to exist. Star Citizen has so much hype on it. A couple of things that makes this game awesome. It's going to have a single player campaign that has co-op enabled with it. That's going to give us an introduction to the world, the universe, the different systems and science and all that cool sci-fi stuff that we love to geek out over. So that's awesome. I love that there's going to be a linear experience that's casual and I can just jump into, but then there's the hardcore sandbox mode, guys, the true MMO part of the game. You can go and discover the universe, which is going to be constantly growing. At the moment, there's 100 stars and growing. It's not even counting planets, guys. But speaking of planets, you literally can land on planets. Like, I'm not saying that you just phase into a planet. There's no loading screen. No, you literally can land onto the different planets. And then, of course, you're going to have the space fighting, guys. The space dog fighting, spaceship combat, lasers, photon rocket pods, I don't know, all that crazy stuff. Star Citizen is looking to be really exciting and all points. If you want to go planet side, if you want to just drift among endless space, whatever you want to do, if you want to just walk around in these crazy futuristic cities, there's a lot to do in Star Citizen. Really, there's just so much to be excited for. If you haven't seen any of the content, the trailers and everything for Star Citizen, absolutely, you have to go watch that after this video. I promise you, it's going to get you excited. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Skyline Shore with Attack Gaming and I had a lot of fun putting together this list. Hopefully you guys are going to have fun playing these games, and if you're already playing them right now, please leave in the comments below why those games are amazing, or maybe if they're not living up to expectations, give us a little hint, give us a little taste about what's going on out there. Remember, like and subscribe so that you can see our expectations and our first impressions whenever we do get our hands on these games, which, guys, can't wait to do it. It's going to definitely savor the moments, and we're going to be counting down the minutes. So thanks again for watching, and see you again later.
To put something in your mouth again.
Can I put it in my hand first?
No, you know how this works.
Oh,
I shove it in your mouth.
Please choose your words wisely.
Okay, lean back.
Oh, what?
Well,